So after several significant interruptions with the timberwork progress over the past 2 months, I finally get to paint some timber. Hooray for that.
If you don't take into account the need for some airflow, mould will grow.
As mentioned previously, I am first using an epoxy paint system called Boat Coat, which is manufactured by Australian company Boatcraft Pacific, and where required I will then apply polyurethane top coats on top of the epoxy. As instructed by Boatcraft Pacific, wiping the timber and ply down with a sponge, simply dampened with water, is the recommended cleaning method after sanding, and it is all that is required. The Boat Coat epoxy conveniently comes with pump dispensers that accurately provide the correct amounts of each part, and it eliminates the messy pouring from open containers. It also helps with a longer shelf life.
Well, I think I've mixed up too much there. It's hot and I can feel it starting to get thick, so I need to stop there and mix up another batch with less volume. That was way too much. So that was 8 of part A and 4 of part B, but it's too much. I'll halve it. What's happening here is I am needing to get some ventilation into all of the interior fit out that I'm going to be doing with the boat. Condensation and moisture, even if it's not causing problems with the steel itself, will cause problems with mould growing on everything. It's a common problem with boats. So what I'm doing to try and prevent that is, with the furniture fit out, I'll be putting ventilation holes through the furniture in different parts. This here is a small bulkhead which is going to be going right up forward underneath the V-berth, and so I've already marked out where these holes are going to be. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that'll just allow air to travel between, well, from right up the forward foot peak right through underneath that V-berth, which will be very, very important. Here's a new hole saw that I've just bought. It's a good brand one, so that should do the job well. always learning after the first little new job, or rather first job after not having done it for some time. So yeah, the back of one of these holes has just been ripped out a little bit. As you saw, I've punched through on one face, and now I'm going to drill through all the way from this side, and that'll prevent this splitting which has occurred on this hole here. Never mind, it's not going to be seen, but all the same, I should have known that in advance, but how quick you forget. So that bulkhead will sit upright like that, and now with those holes in them, it'll just allow ventilation to pass through the whole boat. Well, where this area is, I should say. So, I just thought I'd explain a bit more about the ventilation holes. As mentioned when I was using the hole saw to cut these holes out, ventilation in closed areas in a boat is a very, very big consideration. Take two. So, one strategy that can be used to aid in things getting damp and mould becoming an issue, which is a big battle on boats, especially when you're not on board, when the boat is closed up. Where all the hatches are all closed off, for example, underneath berths or underneath the saloon settees, if you don't take into account the need for some airflow, mould will grow. And so this is one way to aid in a bit of air ventilation. So as mentioned, this bulkhead is just the small one right up forward in the V-berth below the bunk itself. And so I've drilled these holes, I've sanded them as you've seen. I think that's enough just to allow air to pass from the very forward space below the V-berth into the next V-berth, and then that next bulkhead, which is quite large, is actually going to have two doors that will open, and on those doors I plan on having louvers, and in which case that's going to allow air to pass through all the time. I don't want to seal that off. And so the very front space up where the forefoot of the bow is, that air in the space below the bunk will actually be able to pass through these holes into this next space below the V-berth, and then out of those louvered doors, allowing air to flow is the main thing. So, what am I up to now? Well, I need more bench space, and that's an understatement. I've got these two benches here, and that's it. And as you saw yesterday, I sort of have timber painted, but I'm really struggling for bench space. So what I've done is this morning I've gone and purchased 4 more of these workbenches. They're the same as the ones I've already got. I've assembled another one just now. 3 more to go, which will give me 6. That will make a big difference. Two down, 2 to go. So there they are, all made up. Now let's find some work for them. Getting things standard. It's been quite a bit of work actually, because that boat coat epoxy is pretty damn thick on the solid stuff, much thinner on the plywood, which has soaked it up. So I've still got all of this timber under there to give a good sand. I think that stuff actually there is a bit easier than these longer ones, just the way that it went on differently a couple of days ago. Anyhow, it's time to stop for something to eat, some sustenance. Tzatziki on olive sourdough bread, sardines and cheese. Yum. Used the whole lot up for a change. I normally have a little bit of waste. It's actually empty. Perfect.
Join me next episode, everybody, where I maintain the good sanding and painting momentum, and where I start to permanently mount and fix some of this timber to the boat. I hope that you can join me then.